Okay, looking at the calendar, it has been 2 weeks. Tori and Jonathan. I like to help people tell their stories, and this is TJ Talks, the podcast. I'm going to address this immediately. It has been 2 weeks. Not on purpose. Definitely not on purpose. But life happened in a great way. These last 2 weeks, I've actually been getting back to work. And it's a beautiful feeling putting what you practice for, train for, love doing your sleep, doing your dreams. It's great doing that and getting paid for it. Let me say that again. Doing what you love and getting paid for it is amazing. The last 2 weeks, I've been working with 2 different companies developing brand content. For one company, updating brand content, with another, establishing brand content. Content. I guess I am a content creator now, but not in the traditional sense of I'm the face. I have zero problem being the background. Zero problem being the background. It still pays off. But with that stated, this week, funny enough, I had my episode planned out before that 2 week span caught up, and I jumped at okay, wait a minute, I can put money in my savings account. Let me do that. And I'm happy to say I met my goal. Remember how I said last episode, I set a goal for where I want my savings account to be, or how much money I had coming in. I wanted that set and done for the month of January. I hit that within the last 2 weeks, so happy about that. And I set a goal for February that's not as ambitious, so it gives me some playroom. And plus, February, Black History Month, would get the shortest month. And I didn't realize that when I was a child. I was like, why is February so short? It's like, it's the Black folks month. Oh, now I get that. Off topic, but the theme I had for the episode following last week's that got deferred for 2 weeks still applies. Putting what you know and love into practice to make it work for you. I started, we're just going to break it down by projects. My first project was developing a course for a local brow artist. She wanted to develop a course to be that in between, because there are the people that come straight out of school, and then there's the people that learn by themselves. But then learning books and actual hands-on is 2 different things. She made a course to bridge her knowledge from the books to her many years of hands-on, that in-between bridge. And I'm actually going to touch on that at another point, on why whatever your craft, whatever it is, stick with it. As long as you love it and you stick with it, you can make your own course eventually someday also. So this is not just for brow artists. This is not just for barbers. This is not just for artists. It's for everybody. Everybody can give off their knowledge. That's called consulting across the board. But I tackled that and captured it in its best form at the time. But full disclosure, seeing the end result and getting to the end result will always involve some trial and error. I went into this shoot ready to capture it based off of what I thought was the end results, because I saw the end screens and how we got to the screens, not realizing a few choice changes that I now know, and we're going to apply to some of the reshoots that I now know could have made it a lot easier. For example, and I'm going to share this with y'all because I told y'all I talk to y'all. Well, I'm really talking to myself, but I found out now that I finally checked my analytics, I have a handful of people that listen to me often, and I appreciate y'all. And by the time this goes up, I hope there's more. But we're not going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on the information. This goes out to all my fellow videographers. Today, I'm talking to y'all, not artists in general. This one's strictly for the videographers. When you break down the end scenes, if somebody shows you, I want this shot, you have to figure out 3 different things about what goes into making that shot. First off, and we're not even going to talk about the specifics, we're going to talk about the general. Like, what camera lens do you think that shot on? Usually, cheat code for all my videographers, you can tell the lens or guess the lens based off of not the face shape by itself, but the face shape in the background. If the background is blurry, 9 times out of 10, that could be a shallow depth of field lens, like something low, like in the 1 range, 2.8 range. But it can be deceiving because I've done that with f4 lenses zoomed all the way in. So that's why I said don't stick with specifics. You can cheat it if you know what you're trying to do. But the lenses, the lighting, and cheat code for all of you, this can go for photographers also. Our eyes capture light differently. Our eyes capture light differently. So 9 times out of 10, if the camera is of high enough fidelity, you can tell what light they're using based off of looking in their eyes. And third, composition. Composition can be cheated as well, but the 2 things that usually can't are the specifics of the composition. The specifics, like if their head is not supposed to fill up the entire frame, you need a wider lens. But with all that put together, I learned, okay, this could work, this could work, this could work. And my first revision over everything, okay, this can kind of work. But then I ran into a couple of knick-knack stuff, or namely my gear was acting up the day of the shoot. This is why they say shoot early, shoot often. I hadn't touched my camera in basically a year, thanks to good old COVID. But we did get something out of it, and we both learned, because it was also my client's first time actually videoing her process. So we both learned and prepared for the reshoots. But to get off of this one singular paintbrush, I know I just talked to strictly videographers. This is back to general artists. Don't be afraid to fail. Like, you have to try. Nobody comes out the womb being Kobe. Nobody comes out the room being Michael. They had to put in work. Nobody is 100% got it like that. Like, the world does not work that way. This goes for any artist. This goes for any person. You have to try and fail. You can't get better unless you fail. Everybody's afraid to fail. The greats are the ones that aren't afraid to fail, and they will own it in fabulous fashion. Still trying to get up to that part myself, honestly. But I have to say this with everything that's going on in my heart right now, that I love what I do. Even when I don't get it 100% right, getting better pushes me to always do it. And that's what I've learned, or that's what I can pass on to y'all. You know you found your thing when you can fail at it and still want to do it. There's been a couple of things in my life that I've learned. I failed at it. I knew what I did wrong. I learned that. But then I said, you know what, this isn't for me. That's why I finally landed on doing what I'm doing now. Like when I did graphic design, I realized everything that went into it and how much can be just brushed off as, oh, anybody can do that. I can do that with my phone. Yes, you can definitely do it with your phone. But if you didn't see the merit in what I did outside of the phone, let's just say that whole situation rubbed me wrong way too many times, to the point that I said, I'm not with this anymore. I want to pass this on to everybody listening. When you find out what you love, don't be afraid of failing to do it. You have to do it and fail to get better. Like, I did not know how to use my cameras back in the day. I have plenty of footage of me messing stuff up. Like my first camera, $900 T3i. Yeah, first $900 T3i with the kit lens. And I did not understand what 24 frames per second was, 30 frames per second was, the purpose of the shutter angle, shutter speed for everybody, and why you'd always want to leave it at 50, double the shutter speed you're shooting. And I never realized, I just kept it that way and realized all my footage looked static, but it didn't always capture everything, because that general rule is for capturing high motion, slow motion stuff. But typically we move fast. So you sometimes and often in my field want to triple the shutter speed based off what you're trying to capture. I didn't know that when I started. I had to fail a lot to learn that you don't want to stick with the standard all the time. Sometimes you want to triple it or quadruple it. And that sometimes that shutter speed for faster shutter speeds and whatnot isn't always the rule. You want to break it often, but you have to know the rule to break the rule, and you have to make mistakes to know that you need to break the rule. My life. I think I got to my point today, and I will be back next week. I just had to take 2 weeks to get my stuff. First, honestly, I had to get my work in order, and now I'm on the breathing for a few days while I'm working on my next special. So, Tori and Jonathan, I like to help people tell their stories, and this is TJ Talks, the podcast. And I hope to talk to you and see y'all soon.